Jeff Clouse. I don't even know where to begin. Um, you're a brother, father figure, mentor, an inspiration. I don't know where I'd be today if it wasn't for you. I just want you to know that we all love you. I'll miss you. I'll always hold you in my heart. I love you, man. Rest easy.
Jeff was always one of the nicest people you would meet, and I will always remember, as weird as it is, how he smelled. Jeff always had this cologne. I don't know what kind it was, but it was always you'd see him and you'd give him your hug, and he smelled so good, and I'll always associate that cologne, if I ever smell it again, with him. And it just became a running gag that whenever we would see each other, he would do this big open wide, and I'd come in and I'd get in a real deep hug, and I would just go, "You smell good," and it just became a thing. Yeah, I'll never forget that. Love you, Jeff.
I mean, Jeff and I weren't real close, if I'm honest, but, when I first started, with IWE, he was one of the first people, to shake my hand and treat me like any other guy in the locker room, even though I wasn't even part of the roster. I literally was just there, with Corey Kerr and Sam Hex. He encouraged me when they told me they wanted me to be a ring announcer, and he pushed for me to come to MWO as a ring announcer. The thing about Jeff was, no matter what your interests were, if you were excited about it, he would be excited about it. He'd ask questions, and I mean, the few conversations we ever got to have, because he was always in the locker room, and I almost never get to go in the locker room. He didn't care what stupid thing I was talking about. We could talk about music, which he loved. We could talk about Minecraft, which I love. No, I'm gonna ramble if I keep going. Just to Jeff.
Hey Jeff, it's your boy Verdi. Remember when we had the cage match? Oh, this is really hard. You got stuck in the cage? You couldn't get out? Or all the times you would give me the eggs when we go out to breakfast because you hated eating them, so I'd eat your eggs every morning before shows. Or when I elbow dropped a cupcake onto you. Or all the times you got my back when we worked at Converse together. I fucking love you, man. It's all hitting me right now.
Sitting there thinking about PF. And one of the first things that pops in my head is many, many, many years ago, Jason and I, we came up with the idea of the power trip. And the power trip was not only meant to work the fans who were going to be in attendance, but the boys in the back, and that included Fizzle. So, the way it was set up is it was going to be a shoot fight between the Basher and myself. And it was a long, elaborate process in order to set it up. Anyway, we got it set up, and I hit the ring on Jason, and we just started beating the crap out of each other to set this up. And once it was all said and done, and the boys realized it was a work, we were told that PF was doing his damnedest to get Todd the Marauder Grossbauer's brass knuckles from him, because he was coming to the ring and he was going to beat my ass. And that tells you about the kind of relationship him and Jason had, man. These guys didn't know me from anybody. They just knew me from being a guy with a reputation for beating the crap out of people and bleeding, being a hardcore independent wrestler who did death matches. And Jeff was coming to the ring to beat my ass because he thought that his brother and I were really coming to blows. And we would laugh about that all the time. So, there was a match, Michigan's Most Wanted versus, I believe they called themselves Greatness Inc. It was an outside show, and it was a cage match. And we started wrestling this cage match, and I don't know how it happened, but Jeff got stuck between the cage and the ring, and we couldn't get him back into the ring. So Verdi, who was my partner in Michigan's Most Wanted at the time, and we just started stomping the piss out of him, trying to push him through the rest of the cage. So yeah. It was one of the most surreal moments of my life because I had no idea what the hell to do, and he was stuck. He told us, push me through. So we did. Oh. Every time Fizz and I wrestled, he'd look at me and say, gotta be sure to give me that Bulldog Power Slam. Like, all right, man, I'll do that, but you gotta give me the PF5 because we each had a move. It was so much fun to take. Unfortunately, I didn't get to take the last PF5 because I got a little too fat and a little too heavy, and he couldn't get me up. But I hit his ass with that running Bulldog Slam. So, I've known the Clouse brothers a very long time. And Jeff and I, we had our moments. The guy was a class act. I mean, if he liked you, he did whatever you needed to depend on someone, he was there. Fizz, I'm gonna miss you, buddy. Jason, rest of the family, you guys need anything, you can call on old Levi. Love you all.
I think I met Jeff around the same time I met his brother Jason in October of 2004. Jeff, first and foremost, had a rough exterior to him. It's not a bad quality by any means. Once you got to know him, he was an absolute angel. He would give you the shirt off of his back if he liked you, and if he didn't, well, he would tell you. because if there is one or two words that I would use to describe Jeff, he was a tough man, a decent and honest man. And I think that's the quality, in my opinion, that stood out the most. To hear of his passing yesterday was nothing short of shocking, was nothing short of heartbreaking. It's hard news to swallow. One thing that, and a lot of people and a lot of the boys may be able to attest to this, but if you handed Jeff Clouse a mic, you knew you were going to get something special. And maybe a couple of off-color insults. But the one thing about Jeff Clouse was he never pulled any punches. He never wavered from how he felt about things. He was his own man. Damn the torpedoes, as they would say. Very cavalier. But again, if he would give you the shirt off of his back. Once you earned his trust, you had it for life. I will never forget Jeff Clouse. I will never forget the impact he had on me, the impact he had on the rest of the boys, and the impact that he left with the fans. Rest in peace, and we will all miss you very, very much.
I remember all the times sitting backstage at shows, talking to you, Jeff. We would bounce ideas off each other. And more often than not, we completely agreed on everything we talked about. The world is going to be a little sadder, and the locker room's going to feel a little emptier without you, brother. I look forward to seeing you on the other side and planning out more great things.
I'd like to share with you my condolences and my memories with Jeff Clouse, the one of our family members we've lost this past weekend. He was such a good man, and he was such a big fan of ours. And I remember one time, I believe it was after my brother left for Grand Rapids, that Jeff would actually say to me, "Merry Christmas," because he knew that this was going to be my best Christmas clash ever. Sure enough, it was when I won the Michigan Wrestling Organization Championship that day. And it just goes to show that he believed in me, and he believed in everything that I could be, and he'd be there for me no matter what. And I couldn't be more grateful for him. I couldn't be more grateful to work with him. From the very first time we tagged against the Clouse brothers. They were part of the Renegade Power regime, and we were just trying to capture the tag team titles from him and Jason. but he was just an alright kind of guy, and again, I couldn't be more grateful to be a part of him and his legacy. And Jeff, if you're up there, know that God is with you, and that's the only comfort that I have. And to Jason, I am so sorry. If I were there, I'd give you a big hug right now. My condolences out to his wife, Melissa, and his child, Cameron, and everyone else in his family. Love you, Jeff. I miss you, and you will not be forgotten.
So I met Jeff in 2010 when I joined the MWO. I knew of him before that, so I was a fan before I joined the company for a few years. And I also worked with his mom for 5 years at the post office. That's why I always called him Jeffrey, because that's what she would call him, especially when she wasn't quite too pleased with him. been in a bunch of matches with him, countless matches, and he would always say something like quiet to me as he would walk past, like to hit the ropes or whatever. It was funny, just to make me laugh, or when I had pat him down. But my favorite memories are really away from wrestling. Jeff was always one of the guys that would, like, whenever I go on a Facebook venting spree, he would often hit me up and be like, "Hey, what's going on? You all right?" You know, things like that. One time he hit me up, and he actually came and got me, and we went to Mr. Russell Rama After Dark, Richie Eddy. We went to his open house together, and just spending just one-on-one time with him was getting to know him was awesome, because I really got to learn that we had a lot more things in common than I realized. And then when he moved out to Port Huron with Cameron's mom, I renamed it Port Fury. I just got to one time I remember we watched The Call, starring Halle Berry and the Harvard graduate David Otunga. Another time we played some horse out in front of the house. So like every time we were at a wrestling show, whether it was a gym, whether it was a basketball hoop, I'd always ask Jeff if he wanted to play horse. He would decline. Those are my favorite memories, was just getting to know him one-on-one, away from everyone, and just, I'll hold all that with me forever, because, man, he was just a real friend. He would give you the shirt off his back. Never gonna forget you, man. Never, ever. Fly high, PF. Love you, bro.
We've been asked to say a few words about Jeff Clouse. Boy, this still doesn't feel real. And it's still very strange talking about someone who is just so full of life in the past tense. Jeff didn't always like me. He really didn't know what to make of me when I first started coming to MWO and IWE, and it took a while for him to kind of figure out what I'm all about. He thought that I was a gimmick for a while, but it was backstage at an IWE show that he looked at me and he said, Pope, I used to think you were really effing weird, but you're actually pretty alright. Only he didn't say effing. And, from that moment on, me and Jeff just got along so well, and Jeff was a guy who got along with so many people so well. A lot of times in pro wrestling, you can have someone who one person loves to death and another person just hates their effing guts. But Jeff was one of those few people who I don't think anyone had a bad word about. People who were bitter with the business, bitter with MWO, IWE, who had nothing good to say about anyone involved in either of those promotions. Even those guys would have nothing but great things to say about Jeff. As a performer, he was just incredible. His promos are something
entirely different. If you've seen a Jeff Clouse promo, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He was a live wire with a microphone in his hand. You never knew what was going to come out of his mouth. You just knew that it was going to be scathing, it was going to be entertaining, and there was a very high likelihood that it was going to be severely inappropriate. So I'm always going to remember Jeff as a fantastic performer, but much more importantly, Jeff was a phenomenal friend. Jeff was a great brother. Jeff was a great dad. He cared about his family and his friends so much. And I was lucky enough to be one of those friends. And that's always going to mean the world to me. And it just really sucks that I'm never gonna get to hug my friend again. That I'm never gonna get to have a conversation with my friend again. And I say this as someone who really only saw Jeff at shows, who only really saw Jeff backstage. I know there are people who knew Jeff much better than me, who knew him much more intimately than I did. And I can only imagine how they must feel right now. To the Clouse family, Melissa, Cameron, Noah, Bash, Carrie, your kids, I'm so sorry for your loss. But if there is a silver lining, just know how loved your brother was, your father was, your spouse was. Jeff had a lot of love in his heart, and I think it's safe to say that he got that love back in spades. Jeff, I love you. I miss you. I would give anything just to hear you call me a waffle twat one last time, brother. Rest easy, my friends. I love you.
I've been kind of putting off doing this video because I just it's hard for me to get the words out, and it's hard for me to really express everything that, you know, I'm sure not just myself but other people are going through right now. What can you really say about someone like Jeff? You know, there's so much you want to say, and no matter how much you say or what you say, it's really not going to do the man himself justice. He was a friend, he was a brother, he was somebody that always had your back no matter what, and he was somebody that if you knew him, your life was genuinely better for having known him. And you know, it really just still doesn't seem real. It's kind of like what his brother Jason said. It's kind of like a dream, and you just can't wake up from it. You I was supposed to wrestle Jeff back in March, and it got postponed because of the coronavirus. And then my wife and I were supposed to go to Jeff's wedding party at the end of March, and that got postponed. And now I'll never have those new moments. I'll never have any other new moments with him. And the only time any of us will ever get to see him again is in pictures and on video. And you just wonder why, why does this happen? And at the end of the day, nobody knows why things like this happen. But we just have to remember the good times, and we just have to, live our lives the way Jeff would have wanted us to live our lives. And I miss you, buddy, and we'll see you again someday.
I'm trying to find the right words to say to this. It was a nightmare, when I found out Saturday that somebody I've known since 2002 passed away, and I considered him such a great friend and pretty much a brother. Trying to get super emotional here. My heart absolutely broke when I found out. Jeff, I love you more than you could have known. I know I wasn't around for the past few years, but I love you. I love your family and everything. You're gonna be missed. At least I had a lot of memories and a lot of time I got to spend with you. I wish I could have spent more. I love you, Jeff, and you will be missed. Rest in peace, brother. Pure Fury forever.
So many terrific memories with Jeff in the back. He was very funny, very outgoing, and always there to try and make everybody smile and whatnot. And one of my absolute favorite memories, and I've already touched base about this, and pictures out there, but back in 2009, him and I made a bet on 2009 World Series, which was the New York Yankees and the Philadelphia Phillies. And I'm from Pennsylvania, so immediately I'm cheering for Philadelphia. And he was cheering for the Yankees, and so we made a bet. I lost. So next show, we pull up at Terry's Lounge. Jeff greets me, jersey out in hand, goes, "Here you go." That picture of me wearing that Yankees jersey, because I hate them, me and the bird, which I just did. It's something that I fully treasure, and that was one thing about Jeff. He was there to make you smile, make you laugh. He was also there to help. If you had a question, he was right there with you. And even to rant and rave. He was awesome like that. And Jason, Melissa, Cam, my heart goes out to you guys so much. And
a lot of us guys will always joke about when rings attack. Rings will bite you, they'll mark you, whatnot. One of the best memories that I have was wrestling Jeff in Terry's Lounge, 2007, 2008. 2 out of 3 fall match, MWO title on the line. There was one corner that was facing the wall towards the back and towards the side parking lot.
The evil corner, as we all called it.
Where the ring rope covers didn't meet all the way. They left a little bit of the metal out, and it apparently had developed a spur. I hit it out of the gate and found it the hard way, and it left a scar on me.
Which 12 years later he still has.
Jeff, I guess, wound up finding it and got caught. Bled on this basketball jersey that he had. Years later, come to find out, not only did he still have that, it still had the blood on it from it. And that was the match that I won the MWO title on. And I couldn't fathom anything better. I mean, we had maybe 5 people in the entire place, but me and him tore the place down. We did the best we could, and it was great. And I thanked him for it every day that I saw him. And it's gonna suck that he's not around anymore.
It's gonna be
miss
so
him.
weird.
And yeah.
Jeff, we love you. And we're gonna miss you, Ben.
Love you.
You know, trying to record this video, I found out very quick I don't have many words. It's hard for me to explain how I feel, and to anybody who knows me personally would say that's the craziest thing they ever heard, because I never am short on words. I just want to let you know I love you, man. I can't believe this happened, and I miss you already. I remember like my first match I ever had. It was against John Campbell at IWE, and I remember you were one of the guys to pull me to the side and tell me to relax, and said, you know, make it more simple. You're overthinking it. You know, the more you overthink it, the more you'll make mistakes, and you just gave me a lot of good advice. And even with that, I was still kind of scared to talk to you, because the way you would just roast people all the time, which was hilarious, by the way. I just didn't want to get roasted. I thought maybe this guy might be a jerk, and I was pleasantly surprised to find out that it was the complete opposite. This guy is not a jerk. He's a great, great man, great friend, and someone I consider a brother. You stuck your neck out there a lot for a lot of us freebirds when we were really green and hungry, and I know you kind of made a point to say, hey, these young guys are looking for a chance, and I don't know if I would have gotten some of the opportunities I got without you, and I'm just thankful that I got to work some matches with you, and we have so much video footage of your matches, and then I got to meet you in the first place, because as bad as this hurts, I try to think of it like I can't be so upset about what I've lost in a way when I had something that a lot of people would never be lucky enough to have. And it's going to be a long road for anybody to feel all right again, but we have each other. And between all of us together, that's a lot of love for Jeff Clouse. And I love you forever, brother. I'll never forget you. Fly high, baby, for the Freebirds. I'll see you one day.
I've been thinking a lot, and one of my fondest memories, I think, with Jeff was my first match for MWO. It was the night before at IWE. My debut match in IWE was against Apocalypse. After the match, Jeff came up to me and said, "Bam, I want you at MWO tomorrow. Bam, we're gonna talk to Jason." And I said, "Okay, Jeff. Thank you. Are you sure?" And he said, "Yes, I'm sure. I want to ask if I wasn't." Well, fast forward, next day comes. I show up at MWO terrified, nervous. And Jeff calls me over and goes, "Bam, are you ready to go talk to Jason?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "All right." So we go over to Jason. And Jeff goes, "Jason, hey, we need to talk real quick." We go over to Jason, and Jeff goes, "Jason, this kid can go. This freaking kid can go." He said other words, we're going to keep it PG, and goes, "Jason, give this kid a chance." And Jason looks at me, looks at Jeff, shakes his head, and goes, "All right, we'll give him his shot." And like they said, that's all she wrote. Jeff, you were one of the best people I've ever met in my life. You were one of the few people that I knew I could come and talk to about anything. You were one of the first people that hit me up when my niece passed away.
So I was out there, and I heard a whole bunch of yelling and screaming between him and his...
Jeff, you'll always be a bird.
I don't know what's going on, but I tried to stay away. Next thing I know, I took my son...
I love you.
We were going out for...
Thank you for always having my back. I'm gonna miss you forever, bro.
Almost immediately after the fight. She rushes out.
Jeff Clouse. Man, you were one of the realest and coolest dudes I ever had a chance to be in a ring with. Every time we had, never tore it down. Told good stories. I mean, it was just an honest to God pleasure to call you a friend and a mentor. And, like, you're the reason I was in MWO. You know, you and Tyler are the reasons I came in. Y'all asked me to. And, man, it sucks that you're gone. But I promise you, we're never gonna forget you, buddy. I already miss you like crazy. Talking Tech 9 and motorcycles, bro, like, can't believe it. The only person I ever checked with as to what color you were wearing that day, so we didn't match. You know, it's my favorite story to tell. What color you wearing, bro? Got the whites on? Alright, I'll change. Man. I'll tell you what, man, you keep a beer cold for us up there. We'll see you again real soon, I promise. Love you, buddy.
Jeff, he was one of those, like he wasn't your average, like, white guy. You know what I mean? Like, he had a little swag to him. So it was like, we connected when I first enter the MWO. You know, he had a little swag. And we clicked ever since. You know, we had our disagreements at the end of my run in the company. But you know, we hashed it out, apologized, hugged it out. It was cool, it was smooth, back on track. It's very crazy. Jeff he was my first tag partner. Greatness Inc. That's what we called ourselves. Very fitting to describe Jeff. Great. Shit crazy, bro. I can't even. It's so crazy. I don't even know. It's crazy.
When I was asked to do this by Todd, of course I wanted to jump on the opportunity, you know, talk about Jeff. Now that it's here, I don't really know what to say. I just wanted, you know, let it be known that Jeff was someone I truly enjoyed spending time around and talking to at the shows. He was always very supportive of my career and position in the companies, and that's something I really, really will always, you know, hold dear and appreciate of him. You know, he spoke up for me. You know, good sense of humor, always great to talk to. We could always kind of go to the side and talk our opinions on a certain angle or a certain match, and just talk, and that was good. You know, that's why I consider him a friend. And this loss was absolutely shocking. I'm sure more so for the family, but I mean, it was a brick wall when I heard too. I just crashed into. You know, I want the family to know, and all the other workers to know, and everyone involved that and Jeff, you know, somewhere you hear this and you know it. You're my friend, and me and all of us, we all loved you, man.
In this crazy business that is professional wrestling, you meet a lot of people, and if you're fortunate enough, you make very few friends. And I mean real friends. And Jeff Clouse was one of those people that I am honored to say was truly one of my best friends. There was times in my life in the last few years that I felt alone and that not many people had my back, so to speak, and Jeff was always there. Whether with a fun joke or just to come over and hang out to just cheer me up. He was a guy that, for better or for worse, you always knew where you stand. Some of the greatest things I ever did in that ring were with Jeff. And away from all of that, the friendship that we built out of this crazy business is something I will treasure forever. You weren't just my friend. You're my family. You're my brother. I will always look back on those times with fond memories and be very thankful that I have an amazing friend like you in my life. I love you, Jeff. I miss you so much already. Rest well, my friend. I love you.
I first met Jeff Clouse about 15 years ago when I made my debut with the Michigan Wrestling Organization. There's a guy right there who's well liked. Like I can't think of any negative comments that anyone would say. I can't think of anything bad about him. I can't think of anyone saying anything negative about the man. That tells me, and what I'm seeing on Facebook and all the donations, that pretty much tells me that the man was well loved. We started connecting instantly, and I'm realizing that every show we're pretty much following each other, cracking jokes and ribbing the other guys and talking about our matches and what are we gonna do, and went as far as him driving to Detroit, going to concerts together, going to trips. We took a trip to Vegas a couple years ago. That was probably the fun moment the most fun thing that I can say that we had. That was a very well-needed trip. We had a blast. And unfortunately, we won't have that time again. It won't be the same. It won't be the same. Wrestling shows will not be the same. It's very well missed. There's a lot of talk in wrestling. Well, you don't have any friends or anything like that. But I have very few friends in this business. I consider him a best friend, and I've always considered him a best friend. And he will be missed. I think about him every day, every few minutes, literally. And your legacy will live on. You have a ton of supporters who will keep your legacy alive, but I will make sure that it is left alive and you will never be forgotten. I love you. I miss you. I know you're up there smiling down on us. I can't wait to see you, brother. Can't wait to see you again.
Jeff always knew what to say to make people feel better. I don't know what to say now, but Jeff, you've always been the brother I always wanted and the friend I've always needed. I'm gonna miss you. Bye, Jeff.
What can you say about Jeff Clouse that hasn't already been said? He was a lot of things to a lot of people. And I don't think he had a clue as to how special he was to other people. We're still in this state of shock and just a variety of different emotions. The tributes and the different posts and things, and people reflecting on him, their experiences with him, literally across the state of Michigan into Indiana. Just it's been that's been the one remarkable thing about this. If there was a silver lining in any of this, it was to it's been absolutely mind-blowing to see just how much you know, the support and admiration for him, the condolences and the support for our family, especially Melissa at this point. It's been nothing short of extraordinary, and 1,000 times we could say thank you, and 1,000 times it wouldn't be enough. My brother was a one-of-a-kind dude, man. Just lit up an entire building upon his arrival. Ordinarily, you would smell him coming before you actually seen him, because he had a pretty distinct appreciation for various colognes. It's just amazing to me. All of this is amazing to me. It's very difficult. It's very difficult for me. You know, for me personally, he had his, you know, he was embroiled with just about every single aspect of my life. And it's going to be very difficult to move forward without him here. He is going to be sorely missed by a lot of people for a number of reasons. And I just, you know, he's going to be sorely missed.